Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and this is
Autumn Garibay.
And this is
Logan Garibay.
All right, and today we are going to talk about coronavirus. All right, so we're going to talk about the politics of coronavirus. One, this is a neologism being launched by Scott Garibay. What is coronavirus? It's our new world. We are now going to have an environment shaped by coronavirus. Okay, so I'm going to posit the following, and I want you to come in and say, yes, you are absolutely correct, or no, that is not correct. Here's where we're at. So everybody was worried about climate change, right? And you can go right back on this channel, and 6 months ago, you'll hear me saying, I'm not a non-environmentalist, but I ain't worried about the environmental change because I think a solution will present itself. Now, I thought that solution would be technology. It wasn't technology. It was coronavirus. Coronavirus has solved our environmental climate change problem. There's going to be way less already. There is way less fossil fuels being burned, way less electricity being created. And people think that that's not right because we're all at home. But the reality is all those factories use a ton of electricity, and electricity bills are going down, and the overall voltage is going down. In addition to that, Logan, what happened in Italy?
So I think, I've heard news from some of my sisters that apparently, I didn't even know this beforehand, dolphins came back to the coast of Italy because boating decreased because obviously everyone was like, stay in your homes, don't do anything. And so the wildlife and dolphins came more back because they had more room. It was more risk-free for them.
So Mother Gaia, the green goddess of the earth, has whispered, I'm an evangelical Christian, I'm being a little facetious there, has whispered into the ears of the dolphins and said, return to Italy and let them see your joyous fins. All right? So this is great, right? And the reality is, I didn't really think we had to worry too much about climate change before. I really felt, hey, this is an app. Somebody's going to, this is a technical solution. And as soon as we have people stop talking about, driving less cool cars and eating more hummus, and any technology person puts their brain to this for 3 seconds, this will get solved, right? Now, I was wrong that tech would solve it, but I was not wrong not to worry. The climate change issue is going away, right? Even as Donald Trump has completely wrecked the Dems and undone every single car attachment that Obama did to get rid of cool gas guzzling, guzzling, Mad Max, cool cars. Trump has gotten rid of all that, right? We're still about to see a coronavirus, an environment that has been massively helped by the coronavirus. What do you think, Autumn?
Yeah. So, let me respond. I think a lot of what you said had the correct sentiment. I want to put a lot of asterisks on it, though. So, first, just to make sure you know where we're coming from, the coronavirus still is an absolutely terrible thing, but we do believe it may have some positive environmental impacts. I do not think that us staying home has solved climate change. However, really, what the Democrats were trying to get across with climate change is the world is shaped every day by what we do and don't do. And that is very different now. We're not doing a lot of the harmful things we were doing, like driving or all those. So, yeah, there are definitely ups and downs here. I think that people may be using more energy at home, less energy away from home. But I agree that it's probably a net decrease, and that this all is overall good. I still don't think it is a solution. I think it's a small part of the solution in the same way that metal straws or tote bags are. And people are still while we're staying at home, I feel almost everyone is kind of waiting for the day we don't have to. So we are seeing some absolutely beautiful, as Logan said with the dolphins, effects from that positive environmental change. Do you think that it'll revert itself as soon as people get back to work, though?
It's a great question, but I want to give you the opportunity to answer it first, or say anything you wanted about my comments.
Yeah, I have a couple of things on the for comments. First of all, what I was thinking, I just from watching like watching YouTube videos and stuff. I watched this one video, Daily Dose of Internet and stuff.
Great show.
Yeah,
we recommend it.
In it basically just showed not really a diagram, but just picture of how like China, the country, how their carbon footprint went way down once the coronavirus started, so everybody had to stay in their homes, and then once the Chinese government gave a little bit of leeway for some areas, it went back up a lot.
Ooh,
so
data, wow, yeah.
But another thing that you added, that like, oh, it'll all be okay after this because it'll all go away because no one's using fuels and stuff. I don't think 6 months of not doing anything will solve 80 years of carbon like destruction.
Well put, Logan.
So first of all, I have to acknowledge my son as a YouTube ninja. So one, I give my son a lot of flack for watching a lot of nonsense on YouTube, but he's right. Daily Dose of Internet is highly recommended. You should check it out. I'm thankful to YouTube, and I'm going to take a moment to point to another guy who's doing a great job on YouTube. I really like his content, and Logan found him. And then also, my son watches a lot of nonsense on YouTube, but then he comes up with things like Tofu-chan, who's better than anything else on YouTube. So I will also recommend Tofu-chan. He's a dog who enjoys bread. All right, so with that, I think great point, and that answers Autumn's point directly. Personally, I think we're fine, and the reason why is I don't think we're ever going back to full scale, balled out American awesomeness. Things are going to change, right? So one, the handshake's going to die. There's no two ways about that. Period. Handshake ain't coming back. You have no idea how that's going to change humanity. It is going to change humanity, and more importantly, it's going to change America, and like that.
And particularly, do you think it will change the environment in any way?
Yeah, like basically, I think America's going to be kind of like a little. It's going to be on the back foot. It's really going to be on the back foot for a while, and so I don't think we're going back to like, muscle cars and just balled out American industrialism. I think there's going to be a shyness about America as we come out of this, just because of social distancing. People used to hug and fist bump and shake each other's hands and like shuck and jive and like really mix it up. And I think a lot of that's just going to get pushed back, and it's going to hurt business. And I think like people are going to be like, should we put rockets in the air to get to Mars and the moon? I don't know, man. Got to be worried about this coronavirus thing. I don't think it's just going to snap back, right? I'm worried I'm never going to be able to see a movie again, right? So yeah.
That's, I agree. I don't think that things will fully return to the way they were. However, I think, as I said before, I think even now, if we all lived the way we are currently living forever, I'm still not sure that would solve our issue of climate change. Most estimates are quite severe, and I'm actually really looking forward to future ones that include how this year will impact that, and I do think that it will improve it, and I really appreciate your definite optimism in regards to that. But what do you think, Logan? Do you think that if we lived like we did now forever, that the world would be better for it?
Maybe in like 500 years, I guess. Like
not fast enough.
Not fast enough.
Yeah.
Just from reports and stuff, the amount of just damage is crazy.
So before we go any further, we are a politics channel, right? And the reason why I'm talking about this is I think this will fundamentally change politics. And I'm going to say this right now. One thing I think we learned in 2020 the 2020 U.S. presidential primary race is, ain't nobody really worried about the environment. Like, people were like, ooh, I'm worried about the environment. I'm eating this hummus. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. It was a footnote in this election, a footnote. And any candidate who said, this is my primary thing, and I'm so worried about it, and it's the most important thing, gone. Like, Biden didn't even make, environment didn't even make top 3, right? Nobody cared. That is, we learned that in 2020 U.S. primary presidential race. Nobody was genuinely worried about the Earth melting. Nobody cared, right? And if you didn't catch that, and guess what? They were right, right? Like, this was a problem that was going to go away from solution X, Y, or Z. And that's what people think is, in America, if there's a problem, America's like, ignore. Boom, we solve this now, done, right? And frankly, we didn't even have to do it. It solved itself on its own. I really think the Corona environment is going to be the new environment. And it is, we got to talk about it, okay? All right, first of all, I want to thank you two for doing these videos with me, because they're so much better than I could possibly do. And it's something you said. I used to agree with you. I used to think that coronavirus is a terrible thing, and no one can say it's good, and there's no benefit, or there's no net benefit. I'm not convinced of that anymore. You brought up a hugely important subject, a massively echoing statement, which, when I think about it, I truly need to think about it. So here's the question. So here's the thing. First and foremost, people have lost their lives because of corona environment. Because of coronavirus. That is terrible. It's a terrible thing. It is not unprecedented. We have had plagues before, so this has happened before. One of the things I'm noticing is, as this unfolds, there are massive benefits, more and more benefits. And how many need to pile up before somebody says, maybe this is what should have happened. Maybe this is our perfect world. And before we were so, I have to say this, my neighbors, sometimes when I would deal with them, all I was thinking is, hey, where's the boundary of my fence? And where's your fence? I had a conversation the other day with my neighbor. Boom, whatever you need, buddy, you got it, right? And I think the whole world's starting to say, all our divisions are foolishness. And we have one enemy now. An enemy that the whole world can fight, and there's no downside. And that is coronavirus. And also, right, one of the things is, if we take a moment to acknowledge that there is a possibility that coronavirus is a net good, I'm not saying it is, but I think we might need to start thinking about if it's a net good, then one of the things it does is it takes the blame card away. And the more we recognize and acknowledge the benefits of coronavirus, all those sad sacks out there that are pointing the finger at one group of people saying this is their fault, what was their fault? Are dolphins showing up in Italy their fault? Right? Is us as a human race coming together to fight one unified enemy, which is an enemy we can all roll hard at because it's not human, and we can kill it we can kill coronavirus without any threat together as humans. We finally have one unifying human goal. Is that maybe better than if it didn't happen? I'm not positive of the answer, but until you ask that question, when you ask that question, I have heard the echo of benefit after benefit after benefit after benefit from coronavirus, and I will list them. Dolphins in Italy, right? We now have a shot of the entire climate change issue just going away, right? We have had a stop where people can think and do things differently, and many people's lives have changed in dramatic ways, and that may take them on a new route that they would never have experienced. And the more I think about it, yes, we have lost lives. That's terrible. But to ignore the benefits we are getting from this unique period in time may be irresponsible as a society? I'll pose that to the two of you. Jump right in, Logan.
So I definitely have some counter things. Again, I'll say it again. I really don't think this will help. Like, it will help. It will definitely help the fight against climate change. It will definitely contribute stuff. If we learn some of the lessons from this, we can continue and try to act on climate change, which is pretty important. And also, I was about to... Dang it. Yeah. I'm getting to the point now. I do think there are major benefits, and like major benefits. But at the same time, like you said, there are terrible disbenefits. Like, I kind of disagreed with what you said, like getting laid off and like, oh, it's a new path. You're still getting laid off. Like, that's not good.
It's hard.
That's not
it's
good.
True. Yeah.
Like 5% or 10% of the country getting laid off.
16 million people on the unemployment rolls. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You're right. Exactly.
It's really bad.
That's valid. It's valid.
Yeah. So, and like, of course, the deaths, and there's just like a whole ton of other things. So I don't really think this is like a net gain. I think it's just a battle of goods and bads that's like mixed into this weird thing.
Well, I really appreciate that you reminded people about, when you lose your job, because to me, that's a spectator event. I have not lost my job, and I've been blessed to remain and continue to work. And so it is hard for me, but you have an empathetic heart, and I think that's really good to think about. And it is worth being reminded of the costs of what's happening. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you raised a lot of good points, and actually from that, I will rescind my statement that coronavirus is terrible as a whole. I did just want, like Logan, to recognize the terrible aspects of it. And while we're talking about the positive aspects that we've encountered with it, we just want to state that our hearts and thoughts and prayers are with those who have lost jobs, family, lives due to that. Because while to focus on those things and ignore the good things is not a full or really good view of this time, to focus on the good things and ignore what we what got us there and what we had lost from that, I also think is not a well-rounded view of that. So thank you for correcting me on that.
I will say one thing in defense, okay? So you'll hear harsh things said by me, right? Well, the reason why is on this channel, this channel was never set up to give solace to people who had suffered from coronavirus. This channel is about politics. And when I talk about things in the aggregate. And I am talking about coronavirus from the perspective of politics. And I will say, as a person who has a political science degree, it's okay to talk about things that happen in our world at the macro level, at the aggregate level, at the 30,000-foot level. And we need to focus on how these things affect our American politics. Go right ahead.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's talk about all of the politics of this. First off, for the kind of trying to find a viewfinder on this corona thing, I still think that factors into it, because any politician that would say coronavirus is just the greatest thing will not last long.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'm trying to be sympathetic as a politician would.
So you're saying Garibay 2024 ain't gonna work? Go ahead.
But also, this is incredibly political because climate change was such a big thing, especially for the Democrats. So just as I think that climate change will still be a thing after this, I still think that the Democrats' push to change back climate change will also be a thing after this. So for next steps for Biden or Yang, I think that this is a very good thing that we can look back on to say we've lived with a smaller carbon footprint. If we do go back to a larger one, we can we know what it's like to drive less. So that said, what are
actually?
Yeah, no.
You know what?
No
that is. So that is good. Those are all great points. I actually want to really take a moment and thank you. And I honestly, there was an epiphany in the middle of this. Honestly, I really think we need to really start thinking about where coronavirus is helping. And frankly, there's no question that the coronavirus is absolutely going to be part of our American politics going forward. And we really need to start thinking, what is the net damage, the net benefit, or the net negative of coronavirus? I'm not sure we've answered that question yet, but it's worth exploring. Thank you once again. Thank you for letting us share this with you today. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.